I guess, how's the offense coming along? What are you seeing?
I think we've made a lot of progress this spring, and I mean, it's typical coach speak, but I'm pleased with the fact that we have made progress, not content with where we are, and we're at that point in spring ball where all the players are ready for it to be over, and all the coaches like me are wishing we had 4 more weeks of it. I mean, I love spring ball, just working with the kids, and when you've got new guys, which we have a lot of them, then you're really enjoying the progress. You're seeing guys getting better every day. And so you just wish you could keep doing it longer, but now will be the time to, wrap it up and let them kind of work on their own for the summer.
And the QB competition?
Yeah, doing great. I mean, I think all of them are doing well, really. I think Blake's made a lot of improvement, and I think, he's at that point in his career where I've seen a lot of guys make rapid improvement, going from that first year as a full-time starter. Sometimes a guy comes in as a rookie, young guy, and does something next year for maybe whatever reason. Things don't go the way that we thought they would, as a coaching staff, as an entire offense. And then, for him, obviously, he would say he wants to play better this year. And I'm seeing every sign in the world saying that he's going to right now. And I think he's in position to make that jump I've seen a lot of guys make going from that first full year as a starter, full-time starter. And the other thing I really respect about him is just the way he's handling coaching, the way that he's stepped up as a leader, really reaching outside of himself, which, it's not always easy for guys to do. Sawyer's doing a great job too, got a great personality, really is coming along. And, the challenge for Sawyer is, he wasn't just in an air raid offense at Mississippi State. He played in that in high school as well. And so just taking a snap from under center and doing a lot of the footwork things, play action stuff that we're doing, it's like not just a different offense. It's almost like a different sport for him. And then and RJ's doing great, really impressed with his ability to throw it. Brayson's gotten a whole lot better, so really impressed with the room as a whole.
What was it about Sawyer that you'll like? I mean, you could have maybe gone after somebody that had more experience, but I mean, what was it about him that kind of grabbed y'all's attention?
Yeah, I think the question was, what was it about Sawyer that grabbed our attention, particularly with a guy who hadn't played as much. You guys couldn't find very many good players to interview today, huh? I think 2 things. There were a lot of people that we knew, him being from Texas, a lot of people that we knew who had connections to him in high school and had worked with him in camp, had coached him in high school, had seen him in various competitive settings, and just really believed in him as a player. That, combined with what we saw on film, told us that he had the ability. And then the next thing was, hey, he's an even better kid than he is a player. And as we got to know him, we found that to be true. Great kid, great family, great leader, real upbeat, optimistic personality, and it's just hard not to fall in love with him.
Do you have to coach like the air raid out of him in a sense? I mean, do you take some of that if he became a starter and put some of it into the offense anyway? I mean, you got to kind of, I guess, coach to his strength, so to speak.
Yeah, well, when you talk about the air raid, now there are versions of the air raid just like there are versions of spread offense or an NFL-style offense, how would you kind of describe us. So many different versions of it, so many different versions of that air raid as well. But there are pieces of it that we run as well. I've been a part of an air raid offense myself, and so there's parts of that in our passing game. And those parts he's a little bit more comfortable with right now. But I see him making progress in the other pieces as well. And so, I wouldn't say that there are parts of it that we would add to the offense. If he was to play in a game tomorrow, I would lean on the things that he's most comfortable with, which would include some of those elements for sure.
We've heard a lot of positive things about Keytron so far from the other players. What have you seen from him coming in and kind of make a difference?
Got a great ability to separate at the line of scrimmage, and I think it's really helped our other receivers recognize how to do that. I think that's something we struggled with last year, getting off press coverage, and he has the natural ability to stick his foot in the ground and get past someone when they're playing press on him. And so that one thing alone right there is something that I think adds the dimension to your offense that we were missing last year. On top of that, I would say that him kind of being an example and showing the other guys how to do it has helped them. And then on top of that, you know, a lot of those receivers that last year were in their first or second year of playing and maybe ready to play some, but maybe not quite ready for the role that they had. I see them stepping into those roles right now, and really impressed with the group as a whole. I would say that group probably as improved as any this spring. The other thing I'd like to say about Keytron is he has all that physical skill, but what a great personality and a great worker too. You know, sometimes you find that guy who has all the athletic ability and he's just looking for how many balls he can catch. You know, this is a guy that, you know, even back in recruiting wasn't talking about how many balls are you going to throw me and how much money can I make and all that. He just said, I want to be somewhere where it's the right fit, and he's shown to be that. And, you know, after a practice the other day, I felt like I didn't do a good enough job of creating spots for him to make plays, and I apologized, and he just smiled. He said, Coach, I ain't worried about that. And so I just love him as a kid, his willingness to work, willingness to block, and do all the things that we ask him to do.
What makes Jake Roberts fit for what you guys do?
Can I ask him to leave the room first? I don't really want to be nice about him in front of him. It goes against one of my strongest principles. You know, I think Jake too, the same things I said about Sawyer, just in terms of kind of falling in love with a guy with his positive energy. That was something that came across in recruiting and has been true here as well. Just really brings an upbeat vibe to practice every day, the weight room and all that stuff. And so from an energy and leadership standpoint, just love what he brings. And then from a playing standpoint, you know, we're a little bit different than a lot of teams, and we look for tight ends who can do kind of everything, you know, run block, pass block, play in space, play attached to the box, run routes from the box, run routes when they're split out. And he's just a great all-purpose player. Just really impressed with his ability to kind of be a jack of all trades, a guy that can really do about anything that we'd ask for him to do in our offense.
Jeff, is it nice to have a full room there? In the
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, so, you know, my vision when I took this job was to build that room up to the point where we could have a lot of competition there and play a lot of tight ends. And it's been a work in progress. And I think as we've just continued to add to the group each year, we've got it where we want it now. We've got some young guys that are really talented too, that aren't as far along as some of the older guys, but really talented and may contribute some this fall as well. But yeah, last year that was a challenge for us with us being limited the way that we were and facing some injuries. It probably kept me from being able to play the way I'd like to some, but really pleased with the room as a whole.
For the past couple of years, you've had Ben as kind of a clear-cut number one in that room. He's gone now. What have you seen off the field and the guys that are in that room today as far as filling some of what you lost off the field when Ben left?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think probably as much as anything, just really impressed with the group as a whole and the way the thing I say to them all the time is, look, I can't expect this of the offense if the guys that I coach every day don't do it the way it's supposed to be done. So off the field stuff, going to class, being on time for workouts, meeting with their tutors, showing up with integrity to everything they do, that's something I just never have to worry about with this group. And then, you know, from Drake to Jake that we've already talked about, Kelsey, Gavin, those guys who have some experience, they're really leading the way. And then on top of that, on the field, they're showing guys how to work, and they come to work every day. And just really impressed with the group as a whole, and seeing more guys being willing to step outside themselves and try to be an influence on other people.
Looking at the running back room, it looks like you guys are going to be deep in that room again. What have you seen from them in spring ball?
Deep again?
I mean, yeah.
I think that's another room where we're trying to build up, just kind of like we talked about with the tight end room. And you know, I think the addition of the two guys who have come in and our new guys, Dominic and Bryson, just really impressed with those two guys as well. Two guys that, you know, I was talking with Sam about this earlier, just really impressed. I feel like we kind of hit on all our targets this year, and that includes the high school guys. I think it's really unusual to hit on all your transfers, but really impressed with Dominic, his ability. Again, a guy that, you know, comes in with experience and a lot of potential, but just a real solid blue-collar worker's attitude every day, and Bryson the same way, and then you add that on top of Richard and what he did last year, and Quaylen, who I think is improving. I think we're building that room to where we'll have the kind of depth that we need if we're going to, be the kind of team that we'd like to be. We're a team that's going to ask the backs to run in a physical manner, and it takes 3 or 4 guys to be able to do that and sustain that energy and that toughness for a whole season.
You mentioned that you feel like Blake's leadership has improved. I guess just how do you feel like the guys view Blake this spring?
Well, I think that'd be a great question for these guys when they come up, if you want to know how they feel. What I see is just a greater level of interaction with him and the offensive line hanging out together, talking about protection, and a tight end or a receiver staying after practice and working on an individual route. I just see, as a whole, I see our offense coming together in ways that we maybe haven't quite had to the level that I think we can have, and I think that starts with Blake and the other quarterbacks as well. But if you don't have that at that position, I think there's always going to be something that's a little bit off. So I think the guys respect him a ton, and they see how hard he's worked this offseason. He's earned the right to go out and play well and have their respect.
Jeff, what would you like to see get out offense as a whole from the spring game on Saturday?
Yeah, spring games are kind of funny. I enjoy I shouldn't say real scrimmages. I enjoy just regular scrimmages as opposed to the spring game even a little bit more, I think, as a coach, because just the nature of it, there's a little bit more competitive vibe. It's offense against defense. It's good on good. You got to go, and you can do anything. Like I can call anything. Coach Powledge can call anything on defense. In a spring game, we hold a little bit back. However, I think I want to see guys go out there and just play with confidence. I think that's something that's grown a lot this spring, but I still think there are moments where we're not quite where we can be. I want to see a group take the field and play in such a way that they feel like they could go line up against anybody and score.
Kelsey, how do you see that tight end room coming along?
I see it coming along real well. Last year when we only had 6 guys, me going down, Drake going down, Gavin dealing with his knee problems, it was kind of hard to be fresh and, go out there and just play green all the time. But now we have a room full of guys, so it's a lot more help, a lot more leadership roles we need to take it. It's just, it just keep everybody fresh, and, to me, I look at it as a plus.
Kelsey, how nice is it to have an offensive coordinator that's also your position coach, knowing that he's going to use the tight ends like that? That's
a big reason why I committed. It was probably like 1 or 2 other schools who had that same situation, but, with Grimes and the whole Baylor staff, everything just felt real genuine. So, I love it because, he uses us in unique ways, NFL-style offense. We watch George Kittle, Travis Kittle. We watch a lot of real good tight ends and the things they do and how versatile it is, and I feel like he gives all of us the best opportunity to make it to the next level because of the way he uses us in a lot of ways.
Has Drake kind of stepped up and taken more of a leadership role filling in that gap from Ben?
Yes, he has. So I see now, last year Drake, he would lead on the side. He'll, come up to me if I had a bad play, talk to me when he was hurt. He was a big part in helping me get through the game. But now it's like he's addressing the whole offense. I feel like every time he speak up, he has that, that power that presence where when he say something, everybody listening in. And even during the things behind closed doors, like summer workouts, off the field, anything, he's there for everybody, speaking up, he helping in any way he can. So, yeah, I think Drake took a big leap in his leadership role.
Sawyer been like, kind of getting to know him and how's he fitting in?
I love Sawyer. So I've had class with him, and he always positive. I've never seen him in a bad mood. He walk around, greet guys, on the field. If you do mess up, he loves to stay after. He'll text me, hit me up in class and be like, hey, I saw this and this. He loved to improve. So I feel like Sawyer, he's just a great guy. He really brings positive energy to anything he do. So I feel like that just bring the whole team up.
Now, what are you seeing from Blake? Coach said he's working on his leadership skills?
Yes, I do see Blake working on his leadership skills a lot. Whenever we take the field at practice, during scrimmages, anything he talks, he speaks up. Off the field, we finna go into a break. You know, we in college, so a lot of stuff can go wrong. And he'll send a message out to everybody, say, hey, be careful, you know, watch what you do. So I feel like Blake is just, he's way more vocal than he once was. So I just feel like he again has took a big leap in his leadership role.
Kelsey, what has the energy been like out of these practices? What has the competitiveness been like?
It's been high. It's been high. So with a young team, I feel like it's a lot of people who, it's not really anybody who's taking anything for granted, just thinking, oh, I got my job. You know, with a lot of young people out there, one, you're young, so you have more energy, a lot of people more excited. And two, it's a lot of people competing for spots. So I just feel like the energy been great, and it's been good energy. So whenever we come in the locker room, it's like we talking about it. We like, oh, I won on this rep, I won on this rep. You got me, and it's all good energy. It's not nothing negative or, you know, just talking about you bad is all positive. So I feel like the energy, you know, it's times where I'm down myself, and I'm like, okay, this big play happened. Everybody got energy. Now I want to uplift myself just because of the energy everybody bringing. So yeah.
For those guys that are back from last year, do you see a sense of maybe increased maturity or just understanding of kind of what you guys have to do to kind of get back to where you want to be?
Yes. So I do see that because last year our team was young, but we still had a lot of veterans. And this year, even though we do have a young team, from the people that I know at other schools, like the stuff that goes on there behind closed doors is kind of exciting. It's exciting to see that our team, as young as we are, I feel like we are mature. Yes, on the field, it's some things that you got some growing pains, but I still feel like we really, really mature. We've been maturing from the start of winter to now. I feel like it's been like a big progression in how everybody mentality, how they work, going off of last year failures, and looking deeper into the year before, looking up to more people like PD and Bernard. I feel like a lot of people is taking more of that approach than what we did last year.
You guys got a little bit of a taste of McLean on Saturday. Now you guys get to go back in front of more fans than that. How excited are you guys for the spring game?
I mean, every time we in McLean, it's exciting. Even it's way better than being on the grass fields. So even like in the summer when we have a conditioning test, and if it's on the grass field, it's terrible. But when we go to McLean, it's just the energy always there. So I'm excited to be out in front of a lot of fans, family, friends, just people who come out who look forward to watching us. I feel like every time we're in McLean, we get to put on our jerseys and rep the logo, then it's just always just good energy.
Jake, what attracted you to come to this place? I'm sure you have a lot of options. What brought you here?
The people here at Baylor are special, and the offense that Coach Grimes runs is obviously very tight end friendly. So those were two enticing aspects to my decision. And it's not just about the football aspect. I wanted to go somewhere where I can develop as a person too. And I've come to find that everything I thought has been true. I'm surrounded by a lot of great people and great coaches and players that have helped me develop since I've been here already. And I'm excited to see the steps that I can take going into the future.
As far as your tight end skills, what are you trying to develop?
Block and wide zone. That's a little different than what I'm used to. There's a lot of different techniques and stuff, intricate parts of the offense that maybe I haven't done as much in the past, and that's kind of what I've been focusing on this spring, as well as other things that I've been doing in the past, just trying to take the next step in those areas. But yeah, block and wide zone would probably be the biggest one.
Jake, what kind of relationship or connection have you developed with the quarterbacks?
A close one. Me and Blake are roommates, actually, so pretty tight with him and Sawyer. I mean, like Kelsey said, Sawyer is a great personality, always bringing positive energy, and Blake has really stepped up as a leader. It's nice having him at the house, so I'm a guy that's trying to learn the offense and get stuff down. and being able to walk across the hall and ask him a question about this player, what I see on film, or what he's looking at on a certain play, it's been really helpful. So getting to know those guys has been awesome, not just as players, but as people too.
Coach Baker mentioned earlier this week that even he had to learn a thing or two from Blake in terms of his knowledge. What's Blake's knowledge like in terms of the game and getting to learn from him?
He's a ball player. He knows his stuff. I've learned a lot from him already. Being around him a lot, you can just tell he's a guy that has a lot of football knowledge. So it really just oozes out of him. You know, you can tell he's got his stuff down. He's a good guy to have.
Well, how do you see this tight end room developing?
Fast, and it's growing, incredible numbers. We have 9 tight ends, which is, crazy. But yeah, I think it's developing really fast, and it's, great for our team and great for the tight ends. It's always competition, so competition brings out the best in people.
What excites you most about this team?
The growth that we can take, from last season. I came in and, Big 12 champs, Sugar Bowl champs, and then we kind of, as a team, were in the pit last year, and, we're climbing out of the pit. And, I'm excited to see what we can do with, the young leaders that are stepping up on the team and just, the growth that we can do and all the things that we can achieve.
What's different in that tight end room this spring than whenever you guys were in there this past fall?
I would say it's led by committee. I said, Ben was established a leader, and, I love Ben to death, and Ben is one of my best friends, still talk to him every day. But it's led by committee. Drake, Kelsey, Jake, and myself, we lead, and we see something, and, Drake can lean on me one day if he's having, a rough day or going through something, and same with me to Kelsey, and I think just we're closer than we've ever been as a room. And I think the numbers have, really done that to us. We had 2 early enrollees, and, it was the first weekend, and I invited everyone to, my house to have a barbecue and, really get to know everyone, because there's a lot of different people and a lot of different faces and, intricate, pieces in our tight end room.
Do you have enough food for everybody?
Yeah, I did. It was an expensive grocery bill. I had to ask my mom to help me pay for that one.
Gavin, you talked about being in the pit last year.
Mm-hmm.
When y'all evaluated, what do you feel like went wrong last year?
You can't really pinpoint one thing. It was a lot of different things, and it was a lot of things individuals are going through, myself included, with a knee injury. So, I mean, it's a lot of different things that on the surface you can't really see, but it's, different individuals, different leaders kind of going through this and, going through hard times that, people may not think affects the whole team, but, it does. People can say that, I was a really positive person, in my freshman year, and I was kind of in the pit last year, and I didn't really feel like I was as positive going through injury, really finding myself. So I think it's a bunch of individual things that, kind of ended up in that pit.
Did Sawyer ease his way in, or was he pretty vocal from the start?
Vocal, which, I love. He went guns blazing into it, which, I was a fan of that. And, I love Sawyer to death. He's really helped me grow my faith, this spring. And he's been an awesome person to me, on the field, off the field. And he's went in there guns blazing, so I'm a fan of it.
Bible study guy too?
Yeah, he is. I've, started going to church more and, doing a small group with Sawyer. And, we get a whole bunch of people going, to church on Sunday for the team. And he's kind of leading that, him and Coach Grimes' son, Garrison. So,
Gavin, do you feel like you have a different niche at tight end than maybe some of the other guys? I mean, obviously, use you some at fullback and stuff too. Do you feel like you have a little different niche?
Yeah, I think I'm a little different than everyone else in the tight end room. I always get called short, and I always, get called I have little arms, but I'm 6'2". Like, I'm really not that short, but I always get called short. But yeah, I think I do. I'm kind of more fullback, H-back style, but I'm not letting that limitate me. I'm this spring really working on my all-around game and blocking the play side, which I haven't done a lot on wide zone. So I think I do, and I get used in that way, which is perfectly okay with me. Whatever coach says, I'm up for it. But I'm trying to develop myself to be a more well-rounded tight end.
You lobby for some 13 personnel with you being in the back. You being the full.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome, but, whatever coach says, I say yes, sir. I don't really tell him what to do or, I'm a player, so I can't really say much. And if he puts me in there, then, I'll go in there like Sawyer was, guns blazing.
Coach Grimes talked about how he wants to see confidence on Saturday. I feel like some other position groups have mentioned that same thing, to really improving confidence this spring. Do you feel like that's been a focus amongst your group as well?
Yeah, I do. I think, with Jake coming in, being a new guy and myself, kind of being a junior now and Kelsey, we're kind of young and we have to play with confidence because we're the position that, the offense coordinator coaches. So I think when things are, going down in a scrimmage or in a practice, they look, all the different positions look to us to, provide confidence and show that, everything's going to be okay. And if we get a sack, we're going to respond right back with our confidence in the huddle and, our body language on the field.
Thanks, Gavin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.